Good evening, mathematicians. Today we're going to be focusing on Chapter 2.5, dividing by tens, hundreds, and thousands. Here are learning targets. I can divide numbers by 10, 100, or 1,000 using patterns. I can divide numbers up to 4 digits by multiples of 10, 100, or 1,000. I can use rounding and related multiplication facts to estimate quotients. What do you notice when we divide by 10? So in our first problem right here, we have 30 divided by 10. Well, 30 divided by 10, that's basically saying I have 30, I'm going to divide them into 10 groups. How many are in each group? And the answer is 3. And the way to check to see if your quotient is correct is to multiply the quotient times the divisor and see if you get the dividend, which is the first number. So 3 times 10, it's 30, so I know my quotient was right. Let's try another one. 80 divided by 10 is 8. 160 divided by 10, 16. 700 divided by 10, 70. 1,800 divided by 10, 180. 49,000 divided by 10, 4,900. So what pattern do you notice when we divide numbers by 10? What patterns do you notice when we divide by 100 or 1,000? Well, 900 divided by 100 is 9. I'm going to quickly double check to make sure that that's right. Multiply my quotient times my divisor, and yeah, it equals my dividend, so that's right. What about 1,400 divided by 100? Here's a strategy we can use. If there's a 0 here and a 0 here, those match out. And if there's a 0 here and a 0 here, those also match out. They equal out each other, so then that way it's just 14 divided by 1, which is 14. Let's try some on the right when we're dividing by 1,000. 10,000 divided by 1,000. Well, let's try the strategy we just did. There's a 0 here and a 0 here. A 0 here and here, here and here. So now it's just 10 divided by 1, which equals 10. And now to really make sure we are absolutely correct, we could multiply our answer, our quotient, times our divisor. 10 times 1,000, 10,000. So our strategy works. What about 124,000 divided by 1,000? Well, let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Our answer is 124. Woo! And although this last one looks a little bit scary, we know that we have a cool new trick. If there's a 0 and a 0, another and another, another and another, we're just dividing 3,230 divided by 1, which is itself. Now, there is a strategy we can use where we break apart a number to help us divide by tens. So we are going to break apart this 30 and 60 divided by 30 to help us think about it a little bit more easily. We're going to keep the 60 the same, but then we're going to break 30 up into 10 and 3. Now 60 divided by 10 is 6. The 3 stays the same, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. Let's try it with this one. Okay, 420 divided by 70, that could be a little bit daunting, but if we divide 70 up into 10 and 7, because 10 times 7 is 70, we could do this part so easily. Remember our trick? Cross out the 0, cross out the 0. 42 divided by 1, so easy, it's itself. Now we can divide by 7, and that's a fact. 42 divided by 7 is 6. Let's try one more. All right, we have 7,200 divided by 80. Let's make this easier and break up that second number, 80, into 10 and 8. Now, 7,200 divided by 10, cross out the 0, cross out the 0. Now it's just 720 divided by 1, which is 720, divided by 8. Well, 8 can go into 72 9 times, and it goes into 0 0 times. So the answer is 90. Let's try the same strategy to help us now divide by hundreds or thousands. So 600 divided by 200. Well, we can keep that first number the same, but we'll break up 200 into 100 and 2. So 600 divided by 100, remember we can cross out those zeros. It's really just 6 divided by 2, and we get 3. Let's try it with this last one. 32,000 divided by 8,000. Well, let's take 32,000, and we'll break up that 8,000 into 1,000 and 8. So now, 32,000 divided by 1,000, let's cross out any matching zeros. 32 divided by 1, well, that's just 32. Divided by 8, and we get 4. All right, friends, our last strategy is to round numbers to estimate quotients. So the first step is we want to round the divisor. The divisor in a division problem is this second number. Or, if we wrote it like this, it would be the number outside of the house, if that's how you want to think about it. Here's the divisor. So we want to estimate the divisor to the nearest 10 or 100. Well, we've got 38, so we're going to underline the tens place, circle the ruler to the right. The 8 tells the 3 to go up, so we're going to round 38 to 40. What's the second step? We need to replace the dividend. The dividend is a fancy word for the total, or the number inside of the house, with a multiple of the divisor. Okay, well, our divisor is 40. We want to think of a number that would be super easy to divide by 40 to make this division so simple. Well, I can almost think of it like 4. So 4, 8, 12, 16. Okay, well, multiples of 4, I could either do 16 or the next multiple of 12 would be 20. But which one is 17 closer to? 16. So I'm going to make my new dividend 1,600 because now this is a super easy problem. 1,600 divided by 40. Let's use my special strategy. Cross out the 0. Oops, can't do that yet. What do we have to do first? We actually need to write 1,600 divided by 10 divided by 4. Now we can cross out the 0, and it's just 160 divided by 1, which is 160 divided by 4. 4 can go into 16 4 times, and then we have 0. We can check our work multiplying our quotient by our divisor and making sure we get the dividend, and we do. Let's try rounding numbers one more time to estimate quotients. So remember, the first step is that we want to round the divisor. Remember, the divisor is the second number in the division equation, or it's the number outside the division house. So in this case, we want to round it to the nearest 10 or 100. Well, 100, because that's going to make it so simple. We underline the hundreds, we circle that bossy ruler to the right, the 7 tells the 6 to go up. So 671 is going to round to 700. Now we want to replace the dividend with a multiple of the divisor. Well, we're going to think of multiples of 7 that we can use to make this division problem super simple. And we want to think of a multiple of 7 that gets us really close to 43. Well, 7 times 5 is 35, 7 times 6 is 42, and 7 times 7 is 49. Well, 43 is much closer to 42. So I'm going to make the dividend 4,200. Now this problem is super simple to solve. 4,200 divided by 7,000. Well, 7 can go into 42 6 times. And let's make sure that I've got my zeros in there. So we want to make sure if I multiplied 6 times 700, it would be by itself 4,200. So 6 is my quotient.